Guten Morgen, ich bin Renate Klein. Good morning, my name is Renate Klein. I was born in Mannheim, Germany, on July of 1939. I live in Germany with my two older sisters, Gisela and Maga, and my parents, Hildegard Klein and Rudi Klein. My mother stayed home while my father was a big band conductor. We had a great life and a nice house that was filled with lots of people and great music. In 1941, our lives and lifestyle began to change drastically as Hitler became more powerful and World War II began. As a young girl, these changes were very hard to understand. A curfew had been passed, and everyone had to be inside. I remember how representatives of the German army would set up stages outside, and everyone would have to come out and listen to them speak. All the children had to address the adults by saying, "Hail Hitler." Normal everyday food and necessities became very limited, so my mother had to make meals with whatever she could buy, which at times was not very much. War sirens would sound off, warning everyone that we were under attack. I remember how my mother would lay out her sweatsuits every night in case we had to get up and go into the cold, deep cellar for protection. This happened about once or twice a week. My mother, my sisters, and I would say a special prayer every night. Liebe Gott, mach mich fromm, dass es in den Himmel komm. Dear God, make me worthy so I can come into heaven. We were scared for our lives, and the world was changing, but not in a good way, and there was nothing we could do about it. In 1941, during one of the war sirens, our house was bombed while everyone was safe in the cellar. We had to move. My mother, my sisters, and I were transferred to Dresden by the government, while my father stayed with his band in Mannheim with the army. In Dresden, we were separated into two different houses. My mother and I would stay together, and my two sisters were together. Since the homes were very small, we were placed wherever there was room. We survived on food stamps, which provided us with small amounts of food from local markets, but mostly we went to local farms and begged for food, and most times they were gracious enough to give us their crops. In 1945, the war was over, but our life was far from back to normal. We had to get back to my father in Mannheim, which was a very long walk. We walked for 3 weeks with only a little wagon with all our belongings inside. I used this cane right here to help me walk. Along the way, we would eat from cherry and pear trees. We would sneak into barns for the night to sleep, and we even ended up stealing eggs from barns and corn from the fields because we were so starving. When we made it back to Mannheim, since we had no home or money, we were put in assisted living by the government. Life was still not back to normal, but we were safe and the war was over. As I started to grow up, Germany started to rebuild the homes and destroyed areas. Food filled the markets and more jobs were created. But still, I will never forget that time. In 1960, when I was 21, my sisters and I decided to sail to America. This is one of the jackets that I bought in Germany that I used to sail over. Sadly, my parents stayed behind and never came to America. Today, I live in Arizona along with my 3 children and 3 grandchildren. I love it here. I'm reminded every day how lucky I am to be surrounded by such great family and be living in the United States of America.